We want movies made in America. Again.
My first question here.
Well, there's a million questions about. Yes.
You
What's
go
your first question? In this episode of Denoised, Trump's tariffs hit Hollywood.
TED Talk of the Star Wars team on AI usage.
And Claude's new integrations feature. Let's jump into it. What's up, Addy?
Hey, how was your weekend?
Good. Went down to San Diego for a tag along to a medical conference with my wife.
Medical conference? Like the studio?
It felt exactly like that studio episode where a bunch of doctors talking about medical stuff, and I'm like, I do film stuff.
That's cool. I saw Sinners, finally.
You did finally see Sinners?
On laser projector.
Okay.
A step up from like a regular projector, I guess. Amazing. Beautiful. So stylized and just has such a unique flavor.
Yeah, beautiful film. And
beautiful film.
A lot of vibes, a lot of style.
A lot of vibes, a lot of style.
Very fun. I've been listening to the soundtrack a lot too. It's
for sure.
Great soundtrack. Big story that happened last night.
Okay.
As I was wondering, what are we going to talk about today?
This is why we wait.
Our president delivered, and there's plenty of stuff to talk about today. So last night, and we should probably timestamp this too, because these things change every second.
Yes.
We're recording this Monday morning. And this came out Sunday night. Trump posted a tweet or whatever, Truth Social post, that he wants to put a 100% tariff on films not shot in the U.S.
Movie industry is dying.
Well, that's actually
very fast.
Freakishly good. That's a better impression than I thought. All right, well, unknown talent from Addy.
Yeah. So let's unpack this tariff that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
So how did it come about?
How did it come about? He tweeted it. Of course.
Like it's law now.
Well, we'll get into that. He tweeted this last night. He also tweeted that he wanted to reopen Alcatraz as a prison.
I saw that.
Yeah. So
and it instantly
this
took
was in
me
the
to
same
that Clint Eastwood movie. I was like, dude, if somebody figured out how to escape from there, that's probably not a good idea to reopen that.
Sean Connery knew how to escape from there.
Oh yeah, two people escaped from there. There you go.
Yeah, I don't want to read the full tweet, but basically he said he was calling out that production's been slowing down in Hollywood, which we have talked about. Like, there is truth to this, obviously. And obviously there's support for bringing more production back to the U.S. There's a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat that other countries are offering tax incentives to shoot outside of the U.S.
I don't understand how film production. I mean, look, I'm from LA. I would love for stuff to come back here, but how is that a national security threat?
I don't know that part. So the thing he said was, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America. Again.
My first question here.
Well, there's a million questions about. Yes.
What's your first question? Okay, so for me, the companies that are making movies in foreign lands are American companies.
For the most part, yeah.
It's
Disney, also pointed out,
Netflix, Amazon.
The movie industry, or the entertainment industry, is one of America's biggest exports.
Yeah, culturally.
Not even culturally. It's financially. The products are maybe they're shot somewhere else, but the products are American companies produced here
for sure
and exported to other countries.
Yeah,
it's a big export from us.
Yeah, so financially, you don't want to tamper with that cash flow, right? Mm-hmm. Like ultimately, if production is made overseas, it's just like a car. Car is made somewhere else. It's made cheaper, but then if an American company is then able to sell that car to other countries, it is profiting from it. So if you take, Netflix, easy example. Mm-hmm. If Netflix makes a movie in Thailand that is, just done for $2 million versus like 15 million here in the US, they're able to then use that to stream to all the other regions they're in, stream it to Africa, stream it to Europe, stream it to America, and get a far better ROI from that. So why stop that?
Right. I mean, every company is incentivized to make the product at the lowest cost possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like business 101.
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, like a lot of the stuff he says, it's like, yes, there's grains of truth or like, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I just don't really think that's the best way to go about that. This is very much the stick instead of carrots.
Yeah. I'm just happy that this sort of made it up to the very highest of the federal level because, at a local level, state level, we've talked about California's attempt to bring some of it back. And then I just saw somebody from London post on LinkedIn that we got to stop moving BBC from filming in other locations because BBC is a British company. It's like it's happening everywhere.
Right. Everyone is just looking like, where can you produce for the least amount of money. And the tax incentives are one thing. I mean, labor costs is another thing. I mean, that's why in some of the articles coming out too, that's why a lot of productions are happening in like Eastern Europe, just labor cost is less.
And also it's far easier now to make movies. We talk about decentralization and cloud infrastructure, the democratization of high-end gear, cinematic gear that's now fairly cheaply available. Like all you need are the people that can use it to make a movie.
There are multiple levels. First, like, I don't really think this is like actually going to come to pass in its fashion. Also, as like a lot of these policies, it's sort of tweeted first and then figured out later, possibly. So there was a clarification from the White House this morning, Monday, that they're figuring it out and no final decisions have been made.
Yeah.
So the TBD. If, let's say there was a tariff on something, movies are service. And also, he said movies, but is this movies? Is this TV series as well? Is it if just the production happens? Is it if the production and the post-production happen? Is it like there are so many variables to this if this actually came to pass, or if there was some tariff on some fashion? Like, how would you enforce this, or like what's the threshold of what would be considered?
You would need
tariffable, taxable.
Yeah. So the ironic thing here, and the same thing with other tariffs, is like to just enforce and structure all this legally and go execute it. You need to hire a ton of people, which itself is going to cost a lot of money. And these people have to be very specialized. I mean, the film industry is a very specialized trade. So you're spending, millions, billions of dollars to enforce this thing. Like he's already backtracked on the other tariffs.
Yeah, for the most part, which this brings me back to NAB, when like the NAB talk was tariffs on import tariffs.
Right.
Because a lot of companies kept having to like bounce around their prices because based on what they thought the import tariffs would be. And then turns out the import tariffs they're on a pause now.
Yes. And then he's also allowing some companies to like punch through, like Apple. Like Apple now doesn't have to pay tariffs no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like
this week, yes.
This is just Swiss cheese, man.
Yeah. I mean, another picture too. It's like, how do you, so there was talk about, okay, if this like actually happened now, with some movie coming out very soon, like Mission Impossible, would that be subject to tariffs? I feel like, well, probably not. And that's probably soon.
Yeah. And that's a Paramount film that like Paramount's down the street from here. That's a California-based company. I'm pretty sure they're California-based.
Right, but they shot all over the world.
Yeah, like that's
possibly for tax incentives, but also that's the movie.
The movie is a international,
like globe-trotting.
Yeah,
blockbuster film. So they shoot all over the world and pride themselves in filming on location and as practical as possible. So
yeah, the overall health of the film industry really depends on the spreading and the globalization of filmmaking. I think it's as much as it sucks for LA and London and certain places where they're seeing an eviction of production. In general, it's really good for the entire industry because that's how the next generation of filmmakers are being trained and coming up, and the overall volume of quality content will increase over time. It'll also polish the technologies, like it'll force competitors to build for a decentralized world. It's just the path that we're going down on, and I believe, for better or worse, this is the path to the future of film industry that is going to be around.
It decentralized, global.
Like you don't have to think about figuring out a movie within these four walls, like whatever border Trump is drawing up here. If it makes sense to shoot that thing in Ireland and then that thing in Atlanta and that thing in LA, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to think of is like, okay, yes, we're all support, making it more cost effective to shoot back in America. Yeah. Like that's not something that anyone here has really like been against. How would you go about it? I feel like the tariffs are the big stick, so that not really my favorite way. I don't really think that's going to solve anything.
Yeah.
You can go to the flip side, tax incentives. Like, I mean, you could offer tax incentives.
Just offer American productions a 30% federal rebate on top of the state rebates. Like that's how you bring it back. And
you do the same thing the other countries are doing.
Yeah.
So you neutralize it.
Exactly. And then production teams like producers, executive producers, line producers, these are very smart people with lots of experience, generally speaking. Especially at a tier 1 level, you're talking about the best of the best, right? The people that work at Netflix or Disney or Amazon, they're not making stupid financial decisions. Like everything is down to the pennies, and they've optimized for the global landscape already. So putting an artificial wall over sort of free trade, I don't know if this is the right move. And this is certainly not a political show, but in film and TV and media and entertainment, it just really doesn't make any sense.
Right. I'm just trying to like objectively look at this. Like that doesn't seem to make the most sense. A tax incentive to counteract the other tax incentives. If on a federal level, because there are no federal.
Right.
Would that even work federally? Because there's no federal. The tax incentives is usually on the sales tax for the state. Would that even work on a federal level? Because we don't have a federal sales tax.
I would imagine the Department of Commerce, where I think he mentioned this in this. Yeah, they would have to figure out some type of like grant
or
grant program.
A grant or rebate.
Yeah.
Right, grants are the other thing I was thinking of too, like which we did have with like the NEA and other programs, which I believe are either on hold or gutted or not what they used to be.
Do you remember after the 2008? Was it the 2008 financial crisis when the government bailed out the big three Detroit automakers? Mm-hmm. Like people are comparing LA to Detroit now. Why not bail out the big three film studios, and incentivize them to make the movies on American soil?
Right.
The
I
best
don't know if
thing
they need
about
a bailout. I feel like they just need a better environment to make them.
The bailout was just like a giant loan, right? And I think Ford paid it back, and I'm pretty sure GM paid it back. So just inject a big boost into the film industry and do it that way if you
through some sort of tax. Right. I mean, it's tricky. The US is tricky, and I always when I explain this to like people not from here, it's like the US is really kind of like 50 like mini countries united together, and every state has their own tax setup and incentives, and there's like a limit to what the federal government can do. But grants are, I'm sure they can think of some other way to offset the tax incentive you would get by going out of the country at a federal level. Yeah,
my guess is like this is just like the tweet of the day, and it'll probably just go nowhere. But it's funny that one of our beloved actors, Jon Voight, is caught up in it.
Yeah, so this seems to be the backstory of how this even came to be. Jon Voight, who is on the Special Ambassador to Hollywood program, which was him, Mel Gibson, and Sylvester Stallone.
That's right.
But it seems like just Jon Voight was at Mar-a-Lago this past weekend, and presumably that is how this came up and why Trump tweeted about bringing movie production back to the U.S.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad in a way that he was able to escalate it to the most powerful person on the planet, arguably. So, that's good. What you and I have been talking about for months is finally to the ear of the president. But it'll all come down to, does it turn into an actionable plan? And does the actionable plan actually help us?
My prediction is Sarandos, Iger, Zaslav, going to phone up Trump or make a visit over there and be like, appreciate the sentiment, not the way to go about it.
Yeah.
But tell you what, we have the next Marvel film, whatever we were going to be shooting in London. Yeah. We'll shoot it back in Atlanta. Trump can, tweet out, move this production back here, claim victory, part of the deal. And then the tariff thing fades away and everyone forgets about it.
Don't forget to throw AI into the mix just to make things more complex.
Yeah, as Trump tweets out a picture of him as a Sith Lord on May the 4th. Do you see that picture?
No. I thought you were joking.
No, from the official White House Twitter account, which means it is an official federal document.
Is it AI generated?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Once you see how ripped the body is, you will know it is AI generated.
What a world we live in where the official White House account uses generative AI.
I just think years from now, because I've done, I do documentary stuff and I've done deep research, and I've gone to presidential archives, and you look through the folders and the memos and the documents saved, because they have to save they're supposed to save all the documents, right, because they're part of the federal record. And I'm just thinking in 20, 30 years in the future now, people researching the Trump presidency and going through the documents, and it's just like, what?
Let's talk about a more local, more relevant news on the film industry.
Yeah, for LA film, right? Because also bringing production back to America, important, but that could have to go back to Vegas or Atlanta or a number of other American cities that are not LA.
But it's still Team America. It's still here. Still good.
Obviously, sure. Team America, go. But also we've been talking about LA specifically.
I know. Yeah. It's so painful to just see the eviction of LA productions, if you will.
But yeah, what did you see? There was some recent updates with the city.
It kind of got slept on. There is a organization called Stay LA. Their whole sort of motto is just trying to bring productions back and keep them here. So, there's another organization called Film LA, which does all the on-location permits and stuff. Like you'll see a Film LA.
It's a government agency, right? For this,
I think it's a city agency.
Like a city agent. Like they handle all the permitting and stuff.
Yeah. So Film LA reported that year over year, 24 to 25, I think something like 37%, something like that, like a massive drop.
Drop in permits and production days
just
in LA.
Like a global drop in LA production. So Stay LA went up to the Capitol and then also City Council, and they have now passed what they're calling a streamlining of LA productions. So I guess over time, and we've been making movies here for over 100 years, little bits of rules and regulations have been added to how you can make a film. To the point where it's just so bureaucratically complex and heavy, and there's so much red tape that it's just easier to go overseas where there are no rules, right? Or
get out of LA.
Yeah, get out of LA. Yeah. So like a place like Texas, who is vying for all the LA productions, right? It's a very Republican red state, so like they're gonna have almost no regulations, my guess.
Or also just no costs. I mean, in a few like very small productions that I produced here, and wanted to kind of just keep everything clean and like get a permit. But it was like these were like 10, 15 person crews, like pretty small, very low footprint. There's no like the LA permitting office just has not really kept up with the realities of smaller crews and just the different levels of like how you can shoot something. And so it was just the flat out rate to get a permit was like $1,000.
Right.
And it was just like crazy. Like I remember like even in Miami, as long as you show proof of insurance and stuff, they want you to shoot there. It was free to get a permit. You just have to show proof of insurance, which, that makes
cool.
sense.
Yeah.
Here it's like, it was very much geared for large scale productions. Like where's your base camp going to be? Where's like this going to be? And it's like, but the flip side was like, if you were doing a still photo shoot, the permit was like $50.
What?
And it's like, we literally will have less people than like a large scale magazine photo shoot, and it just has not kept up with the times of the reality of different types of productions, different scales. Like not every film shoot requires like grip trucks and generators and everything like you may have had, in the 90s or early 2000s.
For sure. Yeah, it just goes to show like how bloated things got, and if you combine that at a city level with the update and the upgrade to our budget ceiling for tax incentives, which is now I think just shy of $1 billion. I think it's like 800 million, something like that.
The California up.
So like that also kind of sort of helps. Like at least it's in the right direction. It's clearly not as competitive as other places, and other places don't even have caps. Right. But it is a step in the right direction. I think the bleeding, if you will, of films going out of LA will not stop. We'll only be able to slow it down. What'll really bring it back is not the money. It'll be about innovation and talent. So like if you want to make an avant-garde film or like an auteur film, you want to use the best AI talent, you want to have access to the best, locations or studio facilities, things like that, you'll have to shoot in LA. But if you're...
could you still even... what studio would be here that isn't already at Trilith in Atlanta or somewhere else that is bigger and
cheaper?
Cheaper and talent.
Again, I'm just speculating here, but I think ultimately how we could win on some of this is just having a high bar of quality. All the stuff that can be shot anywhere will go anywhere, but then LA will have to have a certain set of unique LA attributes to keep some of that here. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Sort of.
Yeah. Like for example, like VP. Having access to the best VP talent in the world and some of the best stages in the world, like that'll make sure a lot of those, at least those sequences, get shot here. And then same thing.
Maybe the tariffs do go into place, and it's too expensive to leave the country, but you got to shoot in another country. Another bump in VP. Maybe we get more, Gauge and Splats gets its time to shine. It's like someone just sends someone to another country, scan the plaza that you need to film in, and load it up in the VP wall.
Dude, Trump,
this
if
is
you're
global
looking
objects'
to,
future. This is
if you need a director of virtual production over there, I'm ready to go.
So yeah, I mean, maybe that's the seesaw effect of,
Or maybe it's nothing.
or maybe nothing. Most likely, nothing. Yeah, but yeah, the LA thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, only time will tell.
With the LA film stuff and the permitting, hopefully that streamlines or just makes it makes it just easier for content productions.
I think
of all
immediately
types.
some productions will immediately find a good use for it, right? Like as soon as streamlining happens, they're gonna do a double take and be like, wait a minute, actually, it does make sense in LA, but most won't. Most will keep outsourcing and going out to other places. It'll definitely funnel a few of them back. You know, every little bit of bureaucratic efficiency and tax incentives will help.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how a lot of the independent films are able to scrounge together enough to make something possible, like something like The Brutalist of like tax incentives anywhere. I mean, it shot out of the country, but
I'll give you an example of like some of the things that we never think about. I heard this could be a rumor, but I heard the whole reason ILM put up a stage in Manhattan Beach and not in the Disney lot here in Burbank is because Jon Favreau lives on the West Side and didn't want to drive too far. Right. So
completely understandable. I understand that.
You living in LA, you get it. Right. But somebody outside of LA, like, wait, what? It's just a city. It's one city.
If I had Jon Favreau's power, I would do the exact same thing.
Exactly. And that stage stayed up for years after the first or second season. It just goes to show like some of the things that are keeping productions in LA are not on paper. It's stuff like this, right? Like end of the day, most of the A-level talent, directors, DPs, actors, executives live here.
I remember like a similar story with, what was that FX show with Timothy Olyphant? Justified.
Yeah.
Which takes place like in Kentucky, but he was like, I'm not living in Kentucky for like 4 months out of the year to shoot. So the entire film was shot like in the Malibu Mountains to double as the Kentucky mountains.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Yeah, when you have a big enough A-lister, they could kind of dictate things. Just to segue a little bit, one of the big reasons why driving plates is such a big winning use case for VP, yes, it saves money. Yes, it's easier than putting real big A-list actors in a car and
the whole process car setup. And
it's easier.
Yeah,
but it's also kind of limiting, right? Like unless you have a motion plate, you're not getting the wheel. And if you want like those shots from the studio of like
those
cinematic
those shots are
like
awesome.
you're not getting that in a VP volume unless you're doing a lot of VFX on top of it.
Yeah.
Having said that, the main reason, and I mean it blew my mind, is just the insurance premium alone of putting two A-list actors on a rig will save you money because you don't need that for VP.
Yeah, that makes
so that could be in the hundreds of thousands. That like to put like a George Clooney in a car or something
and insure them on this.
Yeah.
Which I think the Wolf's driving stuff was all VP.
All VP.
Yeah.
Makes sense now, right?
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So like these are things that are not going to be on paper.
Yeah, these are those those tied to the tax incentives, the insurance costs, these like other extra costs that you don't really think as like regular line items when you're trying to budget out like the crew and the rental gear.
Yeah.
But it adds up. And it can make or break, especially when we talk about budgets are getting smaller.
By the way, where does Mel Gibson, Stallone, and Jon Voight live? Here. Right? So like...
Do they? They all live here?
Pretty sure.
They still live here as much as they... Okay. Also, Mel Gibson's next movie is a Passion of the Christ follow-up, which is going to shoot in Italy.
Sure. That makes sense, I guess.
Is he going to get tariffed? All right. I think enough tariff talk. Next one.
So every once in a while, you and I watch TED Talks. You see, incredibly eye-opening things presented really, really well, polished. The people that are usually up on stage just know how to communicate really well. TED Talks are amazing. So you have Rob Bredow, who is from ILM and also, I guess, Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
He is the Jedi Master of visual effects. It's interesting. I mean, they sort of went through a bunch of ILM VFX stuff. And then towards the end, he showed us, hey, what would it feel like, just in a very exploratory mood, if we did some AI-generated content? Well, let me show you.
Yeah, in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, so we'll throw it up here on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the video, and also if you're listening to this, it's sort of a video of just kind of looks like a nature doc of single shots of animals reimagined to be
through a
fantastical.
weird HUD.
Yeah. With a HUD like the Star Wars binocular scope that you would see in Empire Strikes Back when they're looking through the binoculars, and it was the little on-screen display. So looking through that and looking at single shots of animals that are like
that don't exist.
But I mean, they look like animals based on Earth, but like a purple
like
monkey,
or like a hippo that is also a whale that's underwater.
Yeah, or it was like a Chulu manatee or something with like tentacle face or something. Yeah, so that was their demo. I felt a bit underwhelming.
Me too. Why did you feel that way?
The biggest pro thing was the shots were very crisp and looked pretty good as a single shot, but it didn't really feel like part of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And then it was just, it's stuff that we sort of seen AI do. We know it could do pretty well. It could do single shots pretty well.
Yeah.
It was like a planet Earth nature documentary.
Yeah. To me, it felt like somebody who is messing around with AI the very first time and puts up stuff on LinkedIn. It's just like that basic.
Yeah, and it's coming from ILM. I mean, and then he like clarified after, he's like, this is work in progress stuff and not public. So whatever this is what they're willing to show.
They're not ready to put like a stormtrooper up on the screen because you want to mix AI with IP.
Right. I mean, I'm curious what's really going on behind the scenes of like what they're pushing and testing. And
my guess is the ILM VFX pipeline, which is legendary and, clearly Academy Award winning and very capable. They probably have integrated some type of generative AI solution under the hood, and this is the output of that you're seeing, rather than just like going on Runway and generating those animals.
Yeah, I mean, the resolution looked very sharp on that,
right.
Like a lot sharper and clearer than most outputs aside from maybe VO2 or Gen 4 from like what I've seen off the shelf.
For sure. There was no error per se either. Like the fur looked correct and the eye contact to the camera and all that.
Yeah, they weren't doing anything crazy. There was just like the animals were standing still, maybe moving their head. And the shots were nothing that was really pushing the limits of what we know are limitations with AI right now.
If you've been living under a rock and have not been following AI for the last 12 months, you would be very impressed at looking at this. But on the flip side, like people like us who follow AI very closely, have a podcast about it, and our peers and our industry friends who use it every day, they're like, wait, what? That's all?
I mean, the one thing about TED Talk is like it is sort of, I don't know, not low word, but it's like targeting the kind of the midline, pretty mainstream audience. Yeah. So, it's just like, this is what we developed with AI tools. But it's like, I want to know, it's like, what tools did you use?
Exactly.
Is this like your own proprietary stuff? You training your own models? Right. You using Comfy? Or are you using the enterprise versions of off-the-shelf stuff like Runway or like...
Oh, is this the Fox one?
VO2, right? Did she partner with Fox for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I believe there was was it an NVIDIA talk? There was an ILM, like NVIDIA or AWS talk from like a year or two ago, and they were doing a lot of training, I believe, with skies, where they were giving a bunch of, because they had a bunch of sky plates, because they shoot sky plates all the time for like the different alien worlds or just all of their different compositing work or building out scenes. And I want to say they were doing something where they were training the skies or like giving training models on skies to like generate or improve like new skies or different skies.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm sure there's a lot more. I could also be mixing up the exact use case, but I'm sure there were a lot more use cases like that's going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
That fits into the existing pipeline, which is a common thing we've talked about here of like AI in the professional workflow is going to be plugged into an existing pipeline to like solve specific elements or speed up things.
Goes in line with what you and I always say is like AI is going to solve specific problems. It's probably not going to be text to image or text to video anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, kudos to them for at least sort of embracing AI and publicly acknowledging that they're using it. Like for a prestigious VFX body like them, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think that probably is the biggest thing from this talk is like a historic, a company like ILM talking about like, yes, we're like, trying to figure out how we can use AI in the workflow.
If we draw a straight path, one can only imagine that at some point Star Wars movies will be using AI tools.
For sure. But I'm sure it's going to be in ways that are like subtle skies, or, you know, something like a Beeble where it's like, oh, maybe they actually shot a miniature, but we want to like relight the miniature, you know, using something like a Beeble with a HDRI plate.
Yeah. Also, if you're shooting a lot of miniatures, it's really difficult to like model all the little details like windows and stuff and put lights inside the window. So you can just shoot a chunk of plastic.
Yeah.
And then maybe fill in the details.
Or like a video to video transfer or something. Yeah. I think it's going to be stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not like,
hope so.
Give me an image of a spaceship.
Hippo and a whale
in the style of Star Wars. One other, you know, and I'm sure it'll be a blend of stuff because in the talk earlier, he was, you know, talking about like virtual production and stuff, but for like a mainstream audience, it's like, look, we shot these with like LED walls. I think it was in Ahsoka. There was a scene that he broke down, and it was, you know, the composited background or the background on the LED wall with a combination of, you know, like Unreal Engine or whatever, they built it in plates, but then the moving robots, I don't remember if they're like AT-AT walkers or something, where he said those were miniatures that were hand stop motion animated.
Very cool.
That they composited in with the CG scenes that they then shot, you know, in an LED wall with like the real actors. So it's like,
that's fun.
Literally so many layers of different VFX technology all coming together into like a single final shot. And I think it's just going to be more extensions of that with AI combined with all the other techniques that are in their toolkit.
Yeah. The big VFX houses in the world, like you have your ILM, you have Weta, you have Framestore, and there's just like a couple more that I'm blanking on. Like, I would be curious to see where each one of them is at with introducing AI and publicly talking about AI as a very beginning.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So kudos to them for like, you know, acknowledging and announcing it, because I feel like there is so much initial backlash of just mentioning AI and being like, AI slop.
Yes.
Destroying things.
I mean,
AI is
if I place myself in their shoes, it is a difficult job of like being technologists. Of course, you're going to gravitate towards the best tool for the job, but at the same time, like the ethical challenges are so murky, you know.
But that reminds me of the last episode of The Studio.
Yes. Do you want to talk about that?
We can mention it. Yeah, I mean, I know we alluded to it last clip, but yeah, the clip going around online was Ice Cube, you know, finding out AI is being used in the Kool-Aid movie and then being like, FAI. The scene that though stood out for me more and felt more like hitting close to home was the scene before that when Seth Rogen was talking to the writer-director, and he's like, well, you know, we have some extra like animation we have to do, but, you know, we could have this company that could use AI. Yeah, it's like very whispered.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, really? He's like, yeah.
But it's like, it's just eyebrows and stuff. Yeah. It's like, he's like, just to tweak the eyebrows and things. It's like, oh, well, it's eyebrows. Who cares? Okay, sure.
Right.
That feels more representative of comments and stuff around AI stuff. You know, it's always in like, well, you know, it's just like minor things, and it's in whispers.
And I love how it got out and it's on Reddit. Like that's something that totally
I heard
happened.
You using AI, and the Kool-Aid is AI, and then it blows up and gets taken out of context. That whole thing feels like it encapsulates the entire AI discourse in movie making right now.
It just goes to show how good of a show and how relevant and timely it is.
Yeah.
Like it's capturing our industry in this moment so well.
All right. Speaking of AI.
Yeah.
Last story. Yeah. So there's a new update from Anthropic, which makes Claude. They are announcing integrations, a new way to connect your apps and tools to Claude. So the first question is, how is this different from the thing we just talked about a week or two ago?
Model Context Protocol.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. MCP. And so it seems like integrations is if you are a company, you build the integration like following their plan. So basically it's a more structured data way to integrate with Claude that you would have to build the integration on your end to connect with Claude. The MCP is using sort of like a virtual computer to interact with the website or whatever. So like in theory, the cool thing about the MCP is you could use it with like any website because it's like the Claude is using the website like as a user.
It kind of jacks into the browser, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like using the web browser interface.
Yeah.
Integrations, I think, is more like an API where it doesn't need to like fake being a computer user. It just kind of like taps into your data.
Yeah.
And then you could do interesting things with it, sort of tying into the agentic AI future that we've been talking about.
Does it take over your, like, can you have, in the same way ChatGPT's agent has it, like, does it order plane tickets for you?
I mean, I think that would be if Expedia or
they would have their
builds
API
an integration or builds an integration that works with Claude.
I feel like we're so close with just having so much automation at the tip of our fingertips, you know?
And connecting the tool. Like, I think this is like one of the like kind of not missing, well, it is a big missing piece, but like a step in the right direction
for sure.
Have all of these, you know, AI models, which are all getting very good and smart and understanding things, but actually having them connect to the apps and programs that we use every day so that they can actually
have utilization
do things
and
that
purpose.
Are useful.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Yeah, right now it's a lot of like copy and pasting, or it's like, you know, from my end, like tell me how to do this thing. And then, you know, I have to go like do it. Right. If it just connects directly to Google Docs is a good one because it's like, well, if all my data's there, you know, find this document or
one of the things that I always struggle with in Excel is like formatting the spreadsheet and then adding formulas and things like that. Some people are just really good at it and I'm not. It would be nice to have Anthropic directly plug into that and then I just tell it what to do.
Yeah, this is again another copy paste deal, but like I've used it to write, you know, I explain like I need a formula that does this, this, and this, and then it'll do it, but then I still have to like plug it in and like swap the cells to make it match the correct name.
Right.
But it does work really well for like, especially like time and date stuff. Where like that's like so complicated. The way you have to format it to get it to work. So like, I did find that ChatGPT was very good at formatting, creating formulas that, you know, calculate time and date stuff that I needed. But then it was still like a little bit of figuring it out.
It just goes to show what I said on the last podcast where I was like, the AI revolution is not going to be like its own path, if you will. It'll be very recognizable and very familiar because it'll be in the applications and in the tools that we use every day.
Yeah. And just once it becomes more of this kind of background agent that is helping run things in the background or kind of connect or move or
like the Blender example was perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
I need this thing created, or I need to create a rough
optimize the geometry for me, or, you know, rig this character for me.
Yeah. But when it does it in a tool where it's modifying the settings of the tool.
Yes.
And then it does its first thing, but you can go into the tool that it did it and then adjust and modify.
Yeah.
And it's not like generative AI where if you don't like something, then it's like, well, all right, well,
throw the dice again.
We'll recreate the whole thing again.
Right.
You know, there's no like slider to like modify
just
this thing in this video. For right now.
Yeah. Perfect.
Until Cristobal comes out with
Cristobal,
a new feature for that.
Awesome.
All right. Good place to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Links for everything we talked about, as usual, at denoisedpodcast.com.
And we'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for your support.
Thanks, everyone.